Hey, welcome back to Five Lakes Garage, and today we're gonna do yet another installment of building out the shed. I have a little bit of siding, a little bit of trim. Should be able to finish the trim. I think we have enough. The siding, yeah, they ran out. I either have to wait for them to get another shipment, or I got to go across town to the other shop to be able to get enough siding. I want to put up as much as I can, and then maybe we'll see how that goes. But this is what we got so far. All right, so we're gonna have a 1x4 going up the side. This is the door. We're gonna have it all the way over. Don't forget your drip cap on top of the door area, and all that really is just a little swoop so that the water doesn't actually sit on there. Also, we're gonna have a 4-inch trim piece here, but we're only going to put a 3-inch on this side. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to have the look of 4 inches on both sides, and then you have a 1-inch space for the actual front part of the trim. And then on the side, we're going to go all the way across the top with a 1x4. We have 1x8 to actually cover the soffit area right there. And then we're gonna go straight in, make a line, and then that's where we're gonna put our 2x4. Later on, I'm gonna be able to put a soffit all the way across with some vents to be able to get air in there. If nothing else, I gotta block it off with some wire or something like that so birds and stuff like that doesn't make a nest in there. And then once we get done with that, we're going to take it down here at the bottom, and we're going to start scribing some lines so we actually make our siding somewhat straight. And the siding is actually a Hardie board, which is a concrete board. I'm pretty much done with my saw blade. Might be able to sharpen it, but I got a spare, so I'm gonna go ahead and eat that one up on the Hardie board. Mostly because the Hardie board is made out of concrete and is going to destroy any saw blade that you really have. You can get actual Hardie board saw blades that are hardened and all that good stuff, but I ain't got like that. So I'm just gonna use what I got. So anyway, we will go ahead and get this on there and make sure she is nice and pretty. Pretty. All right, stay tuned. Hey, as you can see, I got a lot of the front of the face done. Still have the back, I still got the sides and all the other stuff, but I kind of wanted to show you a couple little things that we did. Just a couple tips and tricks. Try to give you some information about this instead of like, hey, we just did it, because I have not had time to really film a whole lot. But all right, so we have 1x4. I went ahead and used pressure treated wood lumber, so hopefully it will not rot out. The other option would be the plastic stuff and the PVC and that type of, which would have been great, but I'm not made of money because this channel hasn't quite gone off the way it needs to at the time. But anyway, the siding I did do Hardie plank, and it is a concrete board, so hopefully it does not rot as well. So basically, I just made up a little template. Each board is 7 inches, as you can see. There we go. So you just go right up here, nail, nail, nail. Yes, I kind of got a little mess on that one. But anyway, each one is, in my case, 7 inches long, wide. And then you nail it in. And then you go all the way to the top. All right, I still got the fascia to do. Also need to trim the shingles still, but this side is basically done. Excuse me. Usually around doors you put brick molding. Around this one I chose to put 1x4, one because I think it looks a little bit better because it's a little bit wider for the actual structure. Then it matches my neighbors, so that's kind of what I was going to go for anyway. So on this side, I think I mentioned it before that I did leave 1 inch over here, so it's about the width of another board. I need to rip down these guys down to 3 inches. It was actually cheaper to buy the 1x4 than it was the 1x3. So I'm just gonna put it on a table saw, rip it down, nail it in, paint it, and we should be okay there. So anyway, it's coming along slowly but surely. I do believe tonight is going to be yet another night with a headlamp on. I got tomorrow to do what I have left. maybe go get some more siding, so hopefully I can dry it in a little bit. I still need to caulk it, still need to paint it, still need to do all other stuff, so it's still a long ways to go, and I'll still have doors to put in. Yeah, anyway, see you in a few when we got more work done. All right, a couple little things I wanted to starting to go up this side. As you can see, I'm just using roofing nails. It should be fine for, I mean, it's a shed, it's not really a house. I know what you're thinking, I should have wrapped it, and yes, I probably should have, but I didn't. Mostly because of cost and that it's a shed. I'm not overly concerned about it. As long as you caulk the seams, we should be in good shape. Now, one of the things that I do wanted to point out is that you still want a little bit of a gap right there, and that is only because you need to caulk it. And if you have a gap in there, just a small one, not a huge one. I got a couple of huge ones on the other side. My helper was a little off, but the good thing about having a helper is that you get to blame them. Yeah. But I should have checked it. It's fine. But anyway, you're gonna leave a small little gap there so you can actually get caulking in there. If you had it butted up to the edge, all you got is that little film for the rounded corner, and you're not getting anything in between the two pieces of wood. Also, the pressure treated stuff, it is going to be a little bit harder to paint, but I think if I take my time and sand it down, do all the other good stuff, we should be good to go. But later on it might flake off a little bit. I did use pressure treated in the front, on the front porch, because I was tired of replacing it. It just took a couple more coats, but it's been lasting for about 10 years now, so we're good. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to set this up so that you can see it. All right. Anyway, I got my little gauge. I'm gonna stick this right on top. Make sure I have a little bit of gap on either side. There you go. As long as this is square and that is square, you should be level. And nail it. All right, so here's my problem. That one I bet you is going to be too low, because I was trying to do it with one hand. Oh well. Anyway, you basically do that all the way up, all the way to the side. Now once I get to the corner right there, we're going to take a measurement, and I'm going to have to rip off all the way across the top. I did that to the other side, and it turned out pretty well. I have to say, for the first attempt, went okay. I do have a couple of bigger gaps on some of the trim. It's going to take a lot of caulking. I'm a little annoyed, but I'm tired. I might go back later and fix it, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to get back to it. I'm running out of daylight, as you can see, and I got to get at least this side done tonight, so tomorrow I can get to both sides, and then it'll be dried in, and I got to worry about doors. Anyway, have fun, enjoy, and see you in a few. All right, so we got the front done, we got the back done as far as the siding and the excuse me, trim pieces are concerned. It's time to do the side itself. Now I took this board here, I ripped it off. It came out to be 2 7/8 wide, so I ripped it off on the table saw, so I put it together so it has a total of basically it's 3.5 ish, but it matches the full sheet with the actual side. So what we need to do is actually put a board all the way across, but we don't know how high it's going to be. We still need to make a soffit for this. Probably the order of operation will be do the soffit, do the face, then be able to do the side, but I'm running out of time. It's getting ready to get really cold and a whole lot of rain, so I want to get the sides protected as much as possible. So what I did to get my measurement here was, I can get my quick square. All right, so I took my quick square, put it up here to the edge, and made sure that when I do put the soffit up, it's going to go all the way up. So I made a mark right there, and then I just took my scrap piece, put that there, and then I have a little bit of wiggle room to be able to put my soffit. So once I put my soffit in, then it'll finish all this off and stuff like that. But right now I really just want to get the siding on because I did not wrap it. I probably should have, but I didn't. And we want to make sure that this board actually stays somewhat dry. I don't know if I have time to actually caulk it, but every seam needs to be caulked, every joint needs to be caulked, all this caulked, painted, all that good stuff. I do have a couple places I do need a sand because the board is obviously warped, and so I'll sand that down just to try to make it look a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and put my board straight across to the top, and then I'll show you how to make some measurements in order to try to keep your siding level. All right, and most of it all really divides on where you're actually measuring from. And in this particular case, once I put my top board here, I'm going to measure from that top board, mostly because if it's crooked at the bottom, you're not going to notice it as much. But if you have a straight line here and then you have a curved line, you're going to notice it. So always make at least my way of doing it is to make your measurements off your top rung or your top panel, siding, trim, whatever the hell the thing is called. You know what I mean? Hi. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get this board up there. I got to measure it off and cut it, and then we'll put it up, and then we'll have something to measure off of. Then we can start laying some siding. Hopefully we'll be able to get done today, and if fingers crossed I can actually get some caulking done. When I do the caulking, I'm going to start on the bottom and work my way up, mostly because the water is going to come off the roof and come straight down. This side over here is not going to get wet that much unless we have some really strong winds. Down at the bottom, it could have a way of actually seeping in and destroying the plywood, which we don't want to do. So all these joints will need to be caulked and all that type of stuff. So anyway, stay tuned. I'm gonna get this board up and show you how it's done. All right, so we have all of our face all the way around. Now we need to start taking some reference measurements. Once we get started, we can slowly move it around in order to actually make it even once you get to the top. Because like I said, if you have a crooked one on top, you're going to be able to notice it because of the baseboard. So you just take measurements, use your top one. So I'm going to do 3 feet. All right, so I just did it from 3 feet from the top. I'm going to do it maybe 5 feet from the top, and then I'll do it maybe 2 feet, just to get reference lines. So once you get to that point, you'll understand. You say, oh, well, this one's a little bit higher. Okay, you can slowly work your way up to make them even again. So hopefully by the time you get to the top, you should be nice and even with your baseboard. So I'm gonna make a couple more marks so we can reference it, and then I'll need to start cutting some concrete board. But anyway, hopefully we'll get it done before I have to use my lights. Keep watching and you'll see some of the finished product. All right, we're getting ready to start the first strip of siding, and what you want to do is each piece of siding is going to be lapped on the last one, so there's a slope coming down. Well, if you don't put something down on the bottom one is just going to be laying flat. So what I did was actually just rip down maybe some 1-inch pieces of the outside sheeting, and I'm just going to nail that all the way down along the bottom. And what that's going to do is actually push the siding out just enough to be able to do a nice slope on it. One thing that you always have to think about, try not to leave too many gaps when you're doing stuff like this, because then lizards and insects and stuff like that can make a home underneath your siding, and you don't want to have that. So try to make it as tight as you can. The lizards and stuff are just going to get in there, but we can at least give them a harder chance of actually getting in there. So this is going to go along the bottom. All right, a couple little odds and ends. I'm just using a finishing nailer to put in the sides over here because you don't want to have those gigantic nail heads. You put enough of these in there, she's not coming off. I kind of made a mistake once and I put so many nails in it. It took a little bit of effort to actually get it out. And then you had to clip every darn one of them. So anyway, I'm gonna do all along the bottom here. I'm gonna do the other side, and then we can start with our first piece of siding. And hopefully we can knock this out because it's all one big piece. There aren't any special cuts, just one cut. I think it's 139 inches all the way across. And basically we're just going to line them up, nail them, and move to the other side. Then I get to caulk it. Not looking forward to that. Anyway, stay tuned. All right, we made short work of this side. It does help when you have a lot of help, which was awesome. Thanks to Reese and Corbin for that. Now, a couple little other tips about putting this siding up. When you get your nail gun out, don't just go willy-nilly. Actually look at where your studs are so that the nail will go through the ply and also through the stud. One, it's stronger, and two, when you're on the inside, this is a shed, this is not a house. If you had a house, you have insulation, you have all this stuff, you're not going to scrape yourself. But this is a shed, you will tear your knuckles up with all the nails that are sticking out. I'm half tempted to go in there with a like a cutoff wheel or something like that, just to cut the tips off of everything that I missed. But if you follow the studs, it's stronger and you won't tear your fingers up. So we're gonna go ahead and rip off the other side real quick, and then once that's done, yeah, like I said, caulking. I think I mentioned that before. I don't like caulking, and it's gonna be a lot of caulking. It's gonna be a lot of tubes because there's a lot of gaps in this thing. I am not a professional, and the tools that I'm working with is garbage at best. So anyway, stay tuned and we'll get the other side done. All right, we have all the siding up all the way around. We still have not done the doors yet, but that's okay. Right now we're gonna do some caulking. Now this stuff here is a latex. You can get silicone. Silicone is okay. It's not very paintable most of the time, and it sticks to everything, which is kind of what it's supposed to do, but latex is a whole lot easier to clean up. So, excuse me. This one does have a little bit of silicone in it, but it's mostly latex, so it is a little bit easier. It is indoor, outdoor, it's 100% waterproof. It is easy water cleanup and low odor, interior, exterior. So I just grabbed a bunch of tubes of this, and what we're gonna do is cut up a little tip right there because I wanna get it in all these cracks and make sure I fill them in. Once I fill them in, I'm gonna take my finger and just kind of push them in there. And the whole time I'm pushing these in because they're kind of flopping out a little bit. But the silicone will actually glue them in place, and then you won't have anything looking kind of kittywampus. So now we get to go all the way around this building and caulk everything. All along the seam here, the seam on the top, all the way down here where the gaps are a little bit bigger than what they should be. Yeah, I kind of screwed up on those cuts, but if you saw the saw I was using, you will understand. Go to the front, go to the back, go all the way around. Silicone, 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 or in this case, latex caulk. So once we get that done, we're gonna let it dry. It should be dry in like 30 minutes, and then we should be able to paint. So far I'm just gonna be priming the trim everywhere, and then once I get the green paint, we'll paint the side. But anyway, that's about it. I'll show you a couple of pictures of the finished product, and hopefully this kind of helps you a little bit on the building of this shed. Oh, another quick tip though, when you're using a nail gun for your roofing nailer to put up siding, lower your air pressure because it will blow right through. So lower it down. I had mine set about 80 psi rather than 90, and that seemed to be okay. There was a couple of them that we did have to actually hammer in, but that seemed to be okay. But anyway, sorry about not having a lot of detail on this particular series of videos. I have been very pressed for time, and when I record, it does take a lot more time and to actually do the recording, do the commentary, and then also actually do the project. So we are racing against the gun right here. Like I said, it is supposed to rain tomorrow. I need to have this thing sealed and ready to go tonight. I might just throw some tarps out there for the doors, but other than that, we should be okay. Anyway, leave some notes in the comments. I know I'm not a professional. I know you guys have a lot more experience in this. Leave me some comments, leave me some tips and tricks. Other people will read it, and then maybe they'll learn. But anyway, check us out doing other projects. I do need to get some more automotive stuff done. Maybe we'll do a simple you know, how to change your oil type of thing, and I'll bring my daughter in and have her change the oil on the van. That's super sexy 2007 Honda Odyssey. Anyway, stay tuned, enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will talk to you later. Peace.